Well, I found a quiet spot at Bordeaux Airport, and I've also found the Airbus Beluga. If you don't know what the Beluga is, Airbus planes, A380, A350, they're built in multiple factories all over Europe, and this is the Airbus plane that they used to transport the parts around in. There you go. I've also seen quite a few military jets. I haven't had a chance to film them because they're not on flight radar and they arrive and disappear quite quickly. There's not particularly any great views here. Where you need to get high, you can't get high, and where you can look out the window, there's no planes. However, the tranquility after the last few days is most appreciated. So where are we up to? What did we do? We had a very late night at the Sofitel, which was the Blitz spirit came in, and everybody talked to each other. There's one thing with travelling, most people don't sort of chat away and get to know their fellow passenger, but when you're in that situation, it's kind of like, well, what flight did you miss? Where are you supposed to be? Are you okay? How did you get sorted? And would you like another drink? And would you like another drink? And we were in the Sofitel lounge where those drinks were free. At Club Tropicana, there was no fun and sunshine. There was lots of snow, but the drinks were free. I don't know how I made my flight the next day, but I did. An EasyJet got me down to Bordeaux in good time. Checked into the Airbus budget. It was a bed for the night. I can't really knock them, but they are pretty straightforward, but excellent. They checked me in nice and early. I was there by about 11:45 lunchtime, and they checked me in and I crashed. I was slightly exhausted. I've been organising video and content for these blogs and how they're put together. It's now going to have to be what should be a normal straightforward trip to Marrakech is now going to be a sort of multi-part video. There's just too much content. But anyway, so that's where we are. So I've been at Bordeaux Airport. I'm flying with Royal Air Maroc. Yeah, things have changed quite dramatically from original plans. So I will be leaving here at 7 o'clock tonight. I'm flying to Casablanca. That's just a short flight. It's about 2 hours. And then a very quick transfer, hour and a half, but I've no bags. Well, I have the magic bag. Just look at that. That is what airport chairs should look like. Because if you need to get a couple of hours kip, you can. But of course, most of them have all the handles coming out here, and yeah, doesn't make it more comfortable. Just makes it impossible to sleep. So good on Bordeaux Airport for that. Yeah, so Casablanca with Royal Air Maroc. I've always wanted to fly Royal Air Maroc since they joined the One World partnership with British Airways. So far I'm annoyed because I've got a gold card with BA, which is Emerald status with One World, and I'm flying Royal Air Maroc. I'm flying in economy, but that should still give me lounge access. It doesn't give me lounge access here. Apparently the girl said with Royal Air Maroc, you've got to have the Royal Air Maroc card to have lounge access, not the One World partner one, which is not true with Qatar, with Qantas, with Thai, not with Thai on in the thing, but with any other airliner flying Malaysian, it's lounge access. So anyway, that's a bit of a downer, but plenty of space and plenty of work got done this afternoon, so that's good. I'm now wittering, so I think I'm going to disappear for a bit, go and grab a coffee and chill out for a bit more, and I will speak to you soon when we arrive, probably in Marrakech. Might have a little chat in Casablanca. So, oh god, so the flight is 7:05 from Bordeaux. Get into Casablanca at 9:10, an hour there, and then we fly 50 minutes on a 737 down to Marrakech, and the hotel have arranged the car to pick me up, which sounds like an extravagance, but it's not really. A taxi is normally about 15 to 20 euros. The taxi driver we'll try and, it's Marrakech, we'll try and get 3 or 4, 5 more euros out of you. And so you're going to be paying 20 euros, 200 dirhams. And the hotel one's going to charge you 25. No bartering, no messing about. It's midnight when I'll get through immigration, and there'll be a guy with a sign waiting for me. Just makes sense. Just makes sense. Anyway, I'll catch you guys later. Passport and ticket checked, and then they vanished. We're in this undescript place with no signage. Where do you go? Upstairs, downstairs, backwards, forwards? Just a group of people who haven't got a clue where to go. So I decided to go up these unmarked stairs as the lift was full, and hopefully I was going to find myself an aeroplane to get on. Well, that's a good start. There's absolutely no staff. I mean, it's a major airport, it's a flag carrier, and there's no signs or no one guiding anyone. Well, I found a plane, and I found a plane that even had a One World badge on it. So I guess I was in the right place. Couple of slight differences with short haul. We've got 2x2 in business class. The plane does look tired, but I don't think it was that old. But the seat was comfy, so all we had to do was wait for the baggage to be loaded, and we were off to Casablanca. I'm laughing now because I know what happens next. So we'll enjoy this little cheeky takeoff, and then we'll see what happens on the plane. We've got a trip back in time. There's a trip back in time coming up. I noticed in economy there's more legroom than with British Airways, and certainly a lot more legroom than with Ryanair. It's probably a little bit cleaner than a Ryanair flight. It's not the cleanest plane in the world, it's not the dirtiest plane in the world. It just did feel like you were in a bygone age, even though it was a 737-800. When I talk about the bygone age, there's a screen up. Now, I like a screen. We're going to have a look at the snack. It's what it was. Yeah. It was a Caesar salad. I actually had a Caesar salad at Bordeaux Airport. But, you know, I think it's a sub 2 hour flight. So, included in the ticket, which was £213, by the way, was a Caesar salad-ish sandwich, Coke and a drink. It was all okay. You know, there wasn't terrible, wasn't brilliant. But anyway, that trip back in time, there was a screen at the front of the plane which showed a map, and if you watch the channel you'll know, and that makes me happy. But look at this. We've not gone back to Mr. Bean, we've gone back to Charlie Chaplin. I mean, this is in the days when I was first flying. You'd have silent movies on because obviously everyone could understand them, and it was normally Mr. Bean, but in this occasion we have Charlie Chaplin joining us on the flight. As I said, wasn't the longest flight in the world, and the screen map in between Charlie's antics did show us that we were close to arrival, and that meant we were one step closer to Marrakech. Now, looking out the window, that lovely view of Casablanca, which really was good. Unfortunately, I couldn't get a particularly good shot of it. Cabin lights were dimmed, but they weren't dimmed that low. But you could see Casablanca out there. So now I was officially in Africa. One more short plane ride to Marrakech. At this point, we were beginning to hear that Morocco had lost. Morocco, that was the purpose of the trip, was to go and watch Morocco play in the semi-final in the square in Marrakech. Obviously, that failed miserably. And Morocco failed to beat France. But not miserably. My team in the tournament. Anyway, we're about to land in Casablanca, and what could possibly go wrong? Just landed at Casablanca. I've no boarding card for the next flight. Check the app, check what I printed out, and seems I've got the boarding pass twice for the flight I've just come off. So I don't know where I'm going to get a boarding pass from. And also my flight leaves in 50 minutes. And I've no idea if I've got to go through immigration or anything. Oh my God. So close. We are in Morocco, but we're not in Marrakech yet. Now what a palaver is the politest way I can describe what happened next. I started following signs for domestic transfer, but soon found myself wandering deserted corridors. Never a good sign. Follow the people is my normal motto at an airport. I did reach a security checkpoint to go through to domestic, but security was having none of it. No boarding pass, no entry. And fair enough. I had 45 minutes to go and nobody around. Eventually I found a representative of Royal Air Maroc and explained my app was not showing a boarding pass. He said you're going to have to go and get one from check-in landside, and looked at me and went, apparently the app doesn't always work. Great stuff. However, he very kindly escorted me through immigration, and although the officer didn't look that happy, he stamped my passport and I was now officially in Morocco. Now to find the Royal Air Maroc check-in. So after frustration and immigration, now came perspiration. 30 minutes to go, it was time to run. I explained at the desk and a boarding pass was promptly printed. I did find the Royal Air Maroc staff very good with dealing with problems. My feelings on this are that might be down to the fact they have a lot of practice in this. Now armed with my boarding pass, which clearly says Terminal 1, Gate D02, I headed off to Terminal 1. Strangely, the girl at check-in had actually pointed me in the direction of Terminal 2, but this said Terminal 1. I get to Terminal 1 and get told, no, Terminal 1's where you collect your boarding pass from. You need to go to Terminal 2 to get on the plane. But you look at that boarding pass, that's where you go. As you can see, we are now on the plane. Now, this is a 50-minute hop. This is no problem whatsoever, right? Same seats, but strangely enough, 5 rows of the plane were missing. But the wings seemed to be there. The pilot seemed to be there. And there couldn't have been too much of a problem. I had an extra legroom row to myself, which, yeah, it was 50 minutes. It was great. But the question is, the guys were fighting at the gate of which gate to use before they put us on the bus. I mean, this was chaos. So would I ever fly Royal Air Maroc again? Never. There was just too much chaos, and it looked like chaos was normal. I am planning a trip later on this year where I have to fly Royal Air Maroc, so we shall see what happens on that. Our screen at the front popped down again, but this time there was no Charlie Chaplin. It was purely and simply for the safety demonstration. There was no service on the flight, but again, this was a 50-minute flight. It was not a problem. The problem was we'd left an hour and a half late, and I was still in a right state from basically the last 5 days. I was supposed to be arriving in Marrakech at 10 o'clock Monday morning. It was now 1 o'clock a.m. Thursday morning. But it was a familiar sight. I've travelled to Marrakech many times, so that familiar sight out of the window. And good landing. Very gentle, needed it. Relaxed. I was finally in Marrakech at just after 1 a.m. And there we are. The beautiful new terminal at Marrakech. Little interesting plane on the runway. My driver was waiting for me, and we sped through the nighttime streets of Marrakech to my hotel, the Novotel. Now I get to the Novotel. There's a video on the Novotel already on the site from when I stayed there a couple of years ago, so do check that out. So I've made it to Marrakech. Well, what happens? How do I get home? You'll have to wait till next week for that video, but it's a touch more relaxed.